Welcome everybody to the ASPRS Mentors Podcast. I'm Greg Stamnish, Chair of the ASPRS Early Career Professionals Council, or ECPC for short. We also have with us Jordan Hicks, Vice Chair of the ECPC. Jordan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I'm Jordan, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Early Career Professionals Council, and I'm a LiDAR specialist based in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm really excited to hear from Dr. Qassim today, and thank you for coming, Doctor.
Sure.
Thanks, Jordan. So our topic this week is Edition 2, Version 2 of the ASPRS Positional Accuracy Standards for Digital Geospatial Data 2024. And we intend to dive deep into the topic to support early career professionals and established mature professionals alike to better understand the standards, their importance, and how they can become more familiar with them through further education. Our guest this week is Dr. Qassim Abdullah. So you've been a guest previously on the podcast, and I encourage guests to listen to that. That was episode 7. So rather than provide your complete background and history, as we normally do, can you provide some information regarding your involvement in the development of the standards over the years, starting with the 2014 Edition 1, Version 1, that you have been involved with, and your qualifications?
Thank you, Greg and Jordan, and hi, everyone. Yes, absolutely. The history of the standard and the latest standard we will talk about really goes back in the mid-90s, where we start moving from hard copy film to soft copy processing. So at that time, we started scanning the film, convert it into digital file, right, with pixel, which is got nothing to do with the film. And that's where the challenge is. The problem, we didn't have any approach or concept or even full understanding. How are we gonna convert that scale of the hard copy film to digital media and pixel? How that pixel relate to the original scale of the film? Because the scanning at the time, you can set up your scanner to 7.5, for example, micron, 15, 21, and so on. So when you change that scanning resolution, the whole picture will change. You know, the relation of pixel to the scale, it will change. So we were in a dilemma for a long time. I mean, we can't use the film scale anymore because we scanned it to a digital, but we don't really have any concept on what that correspond to the film. I mean, when I talk about 100 scale, 1 inch to 100, what that equal in the pixel GSD when we scan it? Is it 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters? So what we did, I'm going to share my screen, Greg, because I have a couple slides. It will maybe makes it a little bit easier to understand. So here what you see, I was in the middle of it in the 90s. We start doing scanning, but we needed, for the production, we needed a guideline. You know what? When I scan the film and the pixel correspond to 7.5 centimeter on the ground, what that scale of the map we're producing. So I produced these kind of tables, you know, which it becomes kind of industry standard for a long time, you know, but again, this based on if you scan your film at a 21 micron, because if you scan it at 7.5 or 15, the whole numbers will change. But we use a 21 micron, most industry using that, and we created that relation between the original photo scale, for example, where it comes from, which flying altitude, and the approximate ground sampling distance, what you see here, what we're dealing now from digital camera. So that was all good news because it gives us an option to continue using the film, scanning it, and we develop approach of understanding how the film scale relate to the resulting GSD because that's all accuracy is based on that at the time. And we continue for a decade or more on that. During that time, I published my mapping matter, and I got bombarded by question from the reader about the same confusion. How are we gonna compute that accuracy? How are we gonna relate? How is the vertical accuracy, better than or worse than horizontal accuracy? So I wrote a series of 3 articles in 2010, and you see this one of them. That's part one, and I have part two and three during different issues of the photogrammetry engineering and remote sensing, where I propose the development of a new standard. I propose on ASPRS, it is time. We cannot continue longer than a decade or two on using makeshift tables to convert film to digital. We're gonna need a new standard where it deals with and that's how it started. ASPRS loved the idea. They contacted me, and we started it in 2011. The effort for that, I gathered people with me. A few people will mention their name later, since I think we have a question about it, and we start working on it. So like I said, the effort, the contact started 2011. We finalized the version in 2014, the edition one, version one. I had with me Dave Mawney at the time, Dr. Munji, and Carl Heidman from the UIGS, and Doug Smith. He was leading, moderating the group, actually. And we publish version one, edition one, based on the new era of geospatial, which is characterized by digital data acquisition center. We have LiDAR, FSAR, digital imaging, digital camera, which we don't have before. We have digital processing workflow, all digital, high accurate maps, not the DOQ of all days. People start with LiDAR. We're dealing with a few centimeter vertical accuracy. And there is no paper map used, no map scale, no contour interval. That's the new era we are facing. And that's how we set up ourselves to do. So we publish the edition one in 2014. And the highlight of it really is sensor agnostic, data driven. That means position accuracy threshold, which are independent of public GSD, map scale, contour interval. It doesn't work. All those concepts, we invented it at the time, 80, 90 years ago, really to deal with paper. How you represent topography on paper other than contours? You can't really. Either you put number, cross and number on it, or contour. That's the only media we have to represent topography. There's no shaded relief. There is nothing digital at the time. So moving to digital, those concepts doesn't work anymore. And data could come from any sensor, not only film camera, for example. We have digital imagery, we have LiDAR, we have FSAR, and so on. And the new standard, all metric and unlimited horizontal and vertical accuracy, actually. The old standard, ASPRS standard, which you call legacy standard of 1990, it has accuracy A and B, C, or 1 and 2 and 3 classes. The 3 classes we have, class 1 1 is the highest accuracy and so on. But the new standard, we were going to go that route, by the way. We stayed for a year with that mentality. Finally, the group, we realized, look, if we're going to limit accuracy 5 centimeter, and that's the best accuracy, 5 years down the road, we don't know where the accuracy gonna go. Somebody gonna come up with more accurate LiDAR, new technology, and it will give us 2 centimeter. What is gonna happen? Do we throw the standard and become obsolete? So we removed all the limitation of accuracy. We open up the accuracy class to the user need. If I need 1 millimeter to deal with terrestrial scanning LiDAR, I can express that accuracy in the new standard without making it obsolete. If I want to describe accuracy of satellite imagery, I can, with meter accuracy, I can use the same standard. So it works really good over the year from our experience. And that's what, if you need the product accurate to 5 centimeter, you go to the vendor and you contract them to create a product for you with accuracy class of 5 centimeter according to ASPRS standard. And we added a lot of additional measure. Aerial triangulation accuracy wasn't existing before, the ground control accuracy, ortho imagery seam line, relative accuracy SWAT to SWAT for LiDAR, mainly recommending nominal pulse density, again for LiDAR, horizontal accuracy of elevation data. We provided a lot of tools and information and measure for the user of the standard. It didn't exist before, definitely. So, but most importantly, we really based it on the simplicity of use for the user, with the understanding not all user of the standard gonna be very versed and educated on all the technical issue on mapping, whether you are in a county government or even a private company and a production. There is a lot of statistical concept way above many people had to understand. So the way we design it, the user, all they need to specify their required accuracy. And the standards, when they say, I want my ortho accurate to 5 centimeter class according to ASPRS standard, ASPRS standard will take it, it will set up the GCP, the ground control accuracy, the aerial triangulation accuracy, resulting aerial triangulation accuracy, checkpoint accuracy for accuracy assessment, provided formal accuracy reporting. So that's the nice thing about it, and people like a lot actually. So I will stop by here now, and we'll continue. We can discuss it probably more once we go through your questions, Greg.
Sure. Yeah, I guess on to the next one. Who is ASPRS as a whole, and who else was involved in the development of the, I guess, the latest edition of the standards?
Okay, that's I'm gonna share my screen again because I prepared a slide on that actually. So what you see here, ASPRS is very old organization. I mean, it's founded in 1934 with the purpose of it as a scientific association serving thousands of professional members around the world. ASPRS mission is to advance knowledge and improve understanding of mapping science to promote the responsible application of photogrammetry, remote sensing, geographic information system, GIS, and supporting technology. So the ASPRS was a unique, really, society for a while, and later, during that time or after, the International Society of Photogrammetry Remote Sensing formed, and that's what the two leading, really, organization in the world at the time to two big organizations, the International and ASPRS. The people involved in the development of the center, like I mentioned, the original one is Dave Mauney, Carol Heidman, Dr. Riyad Munji, and Doug Smith.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the latest edition? Who is all involved in that one?
Yeah, so the latest, we can move to the latest edition. So we publish the 2014 in edition 1, and we put it out. People use it for around 8 years. We start getting feedback, what worked, because it's new. It was new, definitely. That's the first mapping standard solely designed for digital data, not only in the United States, by the way, that's worldwide. 2014, nobody has digital, the specification for digital era of mapping. So the ASPRS was the first one introduced in the world. People jump on it, use it all over the place. And so we got a lot of feedback, what worked, what doesn't work. And also when we started the process, we weren't ready to put everything in it. It takes a long time because we really started 2011 and we finished 2014. And so it takes a long time to go through these standards. So we thought the standard going to be modular in the sense we're going to need to add to it best practices and guidelines as our knowledge expand, as more data available. So when we publish it, we didn't have definitely any of those ready at the time. We have the mainframe of the standard. We pushed it out. And so in the last 8-9 years of use, we got the feedback. We are ready to tackle the best practice and guideline. And sure enough, we formed a new group with me. Was with me also Dr. Munji, Josh Nimitz, represented the USGS, and we have Mike Zoltak, and we have Conan Lee from DOT representing. That's the first time we involved the DOTs from the state DOTs, We didn't have one national DOT, but the state DOTs. So we work also hard. Less than the 3 years we spend just because our life is easier. We have the paved roads and a blueprint what we want to do. But we also formed 6 subgroups. That's what give us expanded our energy to work on addendums to form these best practices and guidelines. So we have a group worked on photogrammetry, a group on LiDAR, on drones, on oblique imagery, on general notes and general practices. And that's, what did I skip? Photogrammetry, LiDAR, drones, oblique, and general. I'm missing one. Should be 6 anyway. Oh, surveying technique, field surveying technique, because we felt that's very important. And people are so confused. Everybody doing it. And now the standard, because in the new standard, we relate the product accuracy to the ground survey accuracy for calibrating the data, whether photogrammetry or LiDAR. So it has direct connect. So that's why we thought we need to regulate that. So we have a really good addendum on field surveying best practices. So the standard is just published, as you know, and June 24, I think, was approved by the board. It is up already. It is very rich document, definitely. It's over 227 pages with the added 6 addenda added a lot to the value of the standard because it has really good information. I mean, years, decades of experience from the industry, from the government, academia, put on these addenda. So hopefully people will follow it and they practice the process of mapping safely. Good for the public, good for the people who producing it.
So basically, the implementation in 2014 is kind of what prompted the changes. People started using them and providing feedback, and developed kind of a roadmap for the revisions to edition 2 version 2.
Yes, absolutely. And I will share my screen again here. Just I have a couple of slides to speak to that actually. So the need for the new edition, changing technology. We have better and more accurate sensor, definitely. Changing user accuracy requirement. We going into sub-centimeter accuracy and some technology. Learning from user experience that in using edition 1, we got a lot of feedback, like we said, what work, what doesn't work. And evolving mathematical and statistical modeling, that's all prompt the change for the new standard here. So like I said, the new edition really represent a great achievement for the industry. Definitely will be good guide for them to practice geospatial mapping safely and accurately. And I'm sure we're gonna get feedback and we're gonna have improvement to the roadmap for a future version. We don't have it like in stone yet, but I expect probably every 5 years we're gonna visit where we are, what we need to change, and what we need to add. I'm sure more addenda gonna come. The one thing I'm thinking about it now is the bathymetric LiDAR. We have a group working hard on specification for bathymetry. I expect that this will evolve to be a seventh addendum to the standard, definitely. And but the nice thing about standard, we really, like I said, based on our experience with edition 1, we introduce a lot of new topic. For example, in calculating the accuracy of the product, now we factor in the accuracy of the ground control survey. All these years we ignore that, definitely, just because our product in the past was very coarse. We talk about meter sometime and some DOQQ. So we always ignore the budget of the ground survey 2-3 centimeter, or because it doesn't really make sense to have complicate the issue of computing product accuracy to incorporate survey accuracy while it is negligible for that kind of product. But now we're moving to LiDAR. We're becoming USGS like level 0 soon gonna be the standard, which is 5 centimeter accuracy. And we have RTK survey giving us no better than 2 centimeter vertical accuracy. That's about 40-45% of the final product budget. In the product, we ignoring it. We're not budgeting that. We're not calculating it in the final product accuracy. So we thought we no longer can ignore that effect. So now when you calculate the final product accuracy, you see the fit of the product to the checkpoint, and you add to it under the square root the accuracy of the survey, of the ground control survey. That's the two components going to the calculation of the product. And there is a lot of changes too, like number of ground control or checkpoint required for accuracy assessment. We had it 20 in edition 1, minimum of a 20, and that's what NSSDA called for 20. I think the National Map Accuracy Standard of 1947 called for 20. So in 2014, we just adopted that without really thinking it, or investigating what is this 20, where it come from. So here we are. A few years ago, we got shouted at by the drones community. Drones community, they fly a small project, 100 acres, 200 acres. And now we require them to have minimum of 20 to check the accuracy. They were complaining, we cannot afford to have a 20 to. So that's the reason really we dove deep into the source of where the 20, can we make it less? Can we make it 10 for those community? And sure enough, we found no foundation, no scientific backing for it, where the 20 come from. And on the contrary, what we found really, the scientific, the scientific, uh, the scientific approach for it is coming by the central limit theorem, which is we need a minimum of 30. And that's where the whole thing changed now. Like we cannot continue on backing the 20, the number of 20 checkpoint that doesn't have any scientific backing. We're gonna base it on scientific, well-respected statistical theorem, which is the central limit theorem. The central limit theorem, unfortunately, it calls for minimum of 30 checkpoints. So we increase the minimum of a 20 to a 30, which make it worse for the drones community. But we give them a statement. I mean, we didn't leave them in the dark. We give them a statement to report their accuracy by declaring, although this testing not meeting the criteria for ASPRS of 30, we did our test using only 17, for example, and that's how we reported according to ASPRS standards. So as a compromise, definitely is some relief for them. And there is other major changes we adopted. I think they will be good for the industry, definitely.
I think most of those drone people are using RTK, so they just need to just enjoy that walk. It doesn't take that long to set
Yep.
20 or 30 points.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So what is the value of the standards to the geospatial industry, its users, and what characterizes good standards like the ASPRS standards?
Now, I'm going to bring the slide again and we'll talk about that. So the role of the sender, there is a zillion of advantage, right? I mean, for the interoperability, for repeating specifications, safe. But on high level, the standards serve as a non-binding policy component to help advance a legal and policy framework for geospatial information management. Adoption of the standard by key stakeholders responsible for geospatial information management will have a broad impact across the geospatial ecosystem, the industry at large, of whether a nation, organization, and information community. The standard can be made binding by including them into requests from RFP, request for proposal. People can make it binding, definitely, but it's optional if you don't want to do it. But the standard should be implemented according to the prospective need of country, organization, or information community, or a project. If I need it to be binding, I would say it has to meet ASPRS standard, for example. So I just dropped my mug behind me. Sorry for that. So that's the on a high level the advantage of the standard for a nation, for industry, for a small community, whatever it is. Yeah, and let me see. So, what characterizes a good standard? It has to be based on the uh, findable, accessible, uh, interoperable, reusable, on the fair principle. I mean, some of you familiar with the fair, findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, authoritative, user-centric, adaptable. And I have a small definition on the right for it. It has to be easily findable by internet browser searching now in our era. Before, you have to go to the library for search, but now it's all, you have to Google it and you find it easily. Accessible, public accessible, free of charge by da- direct download, and could be subscription. You never know on who gonna implement it. And interoperable, user standardized procedure, data format, and so on. And reusable, country agnostic, can easily be adapted for other, for example, authoritative, published by authoritative organization, easy to adapt to all user and modality, and adaptable, can be extended easily for use for future technology. And that's what we mean by our standard sensor agnostic, data driven. It had to adapt when practices and technology change.
Awesome. So which digital geospatial technologies are they applicable to? Are they applicable to aerial mapping with LiDAR and imagery, satellite data, mobile LiDAR and imagery, UAS, could be imagery or LiDAR, terrestrial laser scanning, GIS, and or BIM?
Actually, it's all the above, Greg. I mean, just definitely, and that's what we mean by sensor agnostic. I don't care about what hardware this data produce, because the focus of the sensors, I have to deal with the data at hand. I don't care whether it came from LiDAR, photogrammetry, FSAR, satellite, for example. So it can be used for surveying in the field to express accuracy. It can be used for terrestrial scanning, BIM, internal, external scanning, LiDAR, FSAR, satellite imagery, and so on. So yeah, it is very adaptable, definitely, to any application when geospatial and mapping uh, activity involved.
So what value do they bring to those various technologies or fields or service lines?
The value to bring really relate to the slide I show, definitely. I mean, it makes the data definitely interoperable. It makes it safe. The process is safe for the public health and safety and everything, because map and dimension and position accuracy is very, very important for the society as a whole. And the one example I bring, we have some incidents when people, the road worker, dug on a propane pipeline by mistake, exploded in them and killed people. So if your under surface utility not map accurately, and that map given to the worker in the field, and you could endanger his life or her life, and the people on the street life. So following the standard with declared accuracy and metadata, it is very important, definitely. So it is good for the policy maker, decision maker, good for the, like I said, people worker on the street, for anybody in the society, definitely. I mean, that's what we need to emphasize, the use of the standard. I know it complicates people's life, definitely, but that's how you get a safe product declared to a certain accuracy for certain use. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll follow up to that, making people's lives difficult in a couple questions. But for now, where are they used? Are they used internationally? And how do they compare to other standards used around the world?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I kind of alluded to it a little bit. Like I said, when we started 2014, wasn't any specification for digital data, definitely. And believe me or not, still there is no national standard for any country uh, that I know, uh, based on the concept we have ASPRS standards on. So a lot of country adopted. I mean, like I know in Canada, a lot of agency in their internal specification, they have half of the ASPRS and they give the credit to it. Other countries I am aware of, they use it definitely 100%. All they use ASPRS standard, including the old one, edition one and even before. So so it's still widely used just because it fill a gap. Nobody has any other alternative, and it add a lot of value definitely to that. Now we trying to encourage other nations, other country to please do not reinvent the wheel. I mean, we ASPRS inviting not only country, even organization within the United States or outside. If you want to develop accuracy standards, come along and we can work with you in a different business model, to guide you through development of your specification, whether national or to the organization, without starting from scratch. Take what we did, for example, modify it according to your need. So ISPRS is open to that model now. It could be through license agreement, and they implemented one of those already. I don't know. I'm not authorized to mention that country, by the way, but they already signed agreement with that country to develop a specification. What mean we give them the right to ASPRS standard, and they can take it and modify it according to their need. So that's my call to national organization or international organization or countries. Just ASPRS will work with you to help you develop your own specification based on ASPRS standard without you starting from zero.
So I guess, yeah, why shouldn't I just develop my own? And what are the benefits there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a valid concern because anybody say I can do it. My answer is not that easy, because you see, like like in this edition, we have, beside the core working group, we have 40 people working, 40 people from, I have about at least 5, 6 professors. We have government agency, we have DOT, we have industry. Those 40 people with the core group, you talk about 50 people bringing, I calculated roughly around 300 man-year experience we put into it in the last few years. 300 man-years experience put into it. Why you want to do that? I mean, it will take you a long time, and you won't have access to all those here because we brought everybody there. It takes a village to build a standard like this. So just take advantage of that. Do not start from scratch. You can build on it a lot, but don't start from scratch. That's my advice to whoever want to start it.
All right, well, how can I learn more about the standards?
The different ways. I mean, ASPRS definitely have it. Anybody can access it on their. There is a link. You can download PDF. They sell in the hard copy. I think Greg, you told me $20 or something through the bookstore, maybe or something like that. But but also in our ASPRS annual convention during Geo Week, I myself offer 4 hours workshop where best practices to apply ASPRS standards. So this is really valuable for our condensed just focus on how to use the standards for your daily activity on map or the LiDAR or the digital imagery and so on. So anybody really want to learn more, I advise them if they come into Geo Week to sit in this workshop. And I think, Greg, you mentioned you have ASPRS planning to record something and put online. You can maybe brief us on that if you don't.
Yeah, sure. So we are, in addition to the workshop, we are investigating a plan to create some recordings on ProLearn, or they'll be available on ProLearn. We're talking about dividing it into 1 hour chapters or segments, and each one will be accompanied by a short quiz at the end. And anyone can access ProLearn by registering with My ASPRS, and there's tiered pricing available for non-members, members, and students. And Qassim mentioned there that the hard copy of the ASPRS Positional Accuracy Standards for Digital Geospatial Data, Edition 2, Version 2, should be available this month, and you can pre-order now on the ASPRS bookstore. A My ASPRS account is required to purchase, and they will be, we're saying $20, but we're not sure. There'll be a small fee for them to get that hard copy. Dr. Abdullah, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
No, I would like to thank everybody here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to just make it clear for the public. And I really like to encourage people to get involved with the standard development because, like I said, it takes a village. We need everybody, and don't even think about whatever experience you have is not valuable to the standard. That's what we have. 40 people. Everybody can bring a piece from their perspective, from their company, from their daily practices to enrich the materials in the future edition of the standard. If you have an idea about a new addendum, new applications that we didn't pay attention to, just write us about it or come forward and volunteer to be among those groups working on a future edition. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We do have a question here in the chat. I wonder, Sue, do you want to unmute yourself maybe to ask this one? It says in photogrammetry software, checkpoints are chosen graphically and do not have to be located points. Do those kind of checkpoints count as the checkpoints required by the new and old standards? I don't quite understand it, but
does she mean like photo identifiable point? I
that's
think
kind of yeah, that's what it seems like it's referring
so
to.
yeah, no, absolutely. Photo identifiable. It doesn't. You don't have to panel it. You don't have to paint it to survey it. But as long as surveyed by the same technology, like the same surveyor techniques or surveying techniques in the field with known accuracy, because now on we requiring the user or data provider when they provide a product always to acquire from the surveyor what accuracy was their field surveying conducted to, because unfortunately what we found, not too many surveyors aware of that, by the way, because nobody asked them how accurate you're surveying. But now I think all our products require that number. So So yes, photo identifiable is fine as long as it's done the right way. I saw she wrote back, I think, Doug, or so another question.
Yeah, I think just kind of more
Yeah,
diving into that topic, we can maybe take it offline and address it there.
sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to more people adopting the standards and promoting their use.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, enjoy it.
Thank you.
Bye bye.